Hey guys, it's Jolly, and today I'm outside with CJ. He's my dog. Oh, I love CJ. He's a great dog. He does awesome tricks. Let me tell you about his tricks. He sleeps on the porch. He sleeps in the yard. He sleeps in the driveway. That's about all the tricks that CJ does. He's a pretty lazy dog. Although he did just run away. He's not over here with me anymore. I guess he doesn't like to be in videos. CJ does some other tricks too. See, tricks like pull dead animals and leave them on the front porch. That's a horrible trick. Yeah, he likes to go and find stuff that's dead and bring it back and show it to us like we'll be proud of him about it. Oh, I don't like that stuff because guess what? It's gross and it stinks. Sometimes he even finds dead stuff and he'll roll around in it. So then he stinks. And then we have to give him a bath because he's all nasty. Yep, it's awful. Did you know that there's a story in the Bible about stinky dead stuff? We're going to read that one today. It's about a man named Lazarus. Lazarus lives again. One day, when Jesus and his disciples were telling people about God's love, Jesus received a message that his friend Lazarus was very sick. Jesus loved Lazarus and his sisters Mary and Martha. He even stayed at their house in Bethany when he visited Jerusalem and Judea. Mary and Martha knew Jesus could heal their brother because they believed he was the Son of God. But when Jesus got the message, he didn't stop what he was doing to go be with them. Jesus told his disciples that Lazarus wasn't going to die, but because of his sickness, people would see how wonderful God is. Then Jesus stayed right where he was, doing what he was doing before he got the message. 2 days later, Jesus told his disciples he was going to go to Judea. His disciples didn't really like this plan because some of the people in Judea didn't like Jesus at all. In fact, some people in Judea wanted to kill Jesus. His disciples didn't understand why Jesus would even think about going back because it was so dangerous. Jesus told his disciples that their friend Lazarus was dead, and he had to go to him. Jesus wasn't afraid. He knew God's whole plan, and he trusted it, so he didn't have to worry about anything else. The disciples didn't know God's whole plan, but they went with Jesus even though they thought it might mean they would die. They loved Jesus too much to let him go alone. It took Jesus 2 days to get to Bethany, but when he arrived, Martha ran to meet him. Martha was so happy to see Jesus, but she was still very sad about her brother. Martha said, "If you had been here, my brother wouldn't have died." Jesus said, "Your brother will live again." Then Martha went back into the house to get her sister Mary. There were lots of people in their house with Mary. They were there to hug her and take care of her while she was sad about Lazarus. When Martha told Mary that Jesus was calling for her, she jumped up and ran to him. All the people in the house followed her. They didn't know she was running to Jesus. They thought she was running to the grave, and she would need them there. When Mary reached Jesus, she fell at his feet to worship him and said, "If you had been here, my brother wouldn't have died." Then Jesus told Mary and Martha to take him to the place where Lazarus was buried. Lazarus had been put in a tomb that was like a cave with a big rock in front of the opening. Jesus told them to move the big rock. Martha said, "But Lord, Lazarus has been dead for 4 days. By now he will stink." Martha didn't want them to roll the stone away, but Jesus told them to do it. When the stone was moved, Jesus said in a loud voice, "Lazarus, come forth." Lazarus, who had been dead for 4 days, walked right out of the tomb. He was still wrapped in grave clothes, but he was alive. Jesus raised him from the dead, and many of the people who were there that day believed that Jesus was the Son of God. God used Lazarus to bring many people to know him. Okay, guys, it's time for activity number 1. What is this one going to be about? Let me read the directions. Jesus arrived after Lazarus was dead. Mary and Martha thought Jesus had to come before Lazarus died to be able to help him. Below are pictures of before and after. Look at the pictures and match the before picture on the top to the after picture on the bottom. There we go. Okay, let's check out and see what we've got in these pictures. This one, we've got eggs and a bowl and milk. Okay, that looks like cooking or something. This one, we've got a nest with eggs in it. This one, we have a rain cloud. And this one, we have dirt and a flower pot. Okay, now let's look at the stuff on the bottom. We have a rainbow. We have a cake. We have a beautiful flower. And we have a bird. Okay, let's look at the bottom line first. First, we have a rainbow. Before you can have a rainbow, what do you need to have? These are our after pictures, so we're gonna look at the after and then try to figure out what had to come first before this picture. Before you can have a rainbow, do you need eggs in a bowl and milk? No. Do you need a nest? No. Do you need rain? You do need rain. Rain comes before a rainbow, and a rainbow comes after rain. Okay, next we have a birthday cake. Before you can have a birthday cake, what do you need? You have to cook it before you can eat it. So to cook it, we need eggs and milk and a bowl and all the ingredients in a bowl to mix them up in. So let's draw a line from the ingredients to the cake. Before the cake, we have to have ingredients. And after the ingredients, we can have the cake. Okay, moving right along. Now we have a flower. What do you need before we can have a beautiful flower in a flower pot? Do you need eggs and a nest? No. Do you need dirt and an empty flower pot? I think you do. Before you can have a flower, you have to put the dirt in the pot and the seeds in the dirt, and then it will grow into a flower. So before you have these things, and after you have this. Okay, the last one, we have a bird. Before, what comes before a bird flying around in the sky? Before it can be a big bird flying around, it has to be a baby bird in an egg in a nest. So before this picture had to come this picture. So the nest comes before the bird. There we go. Great job, guys. Okay, it's time for our math activity. Let's see what we're doing today. Let me read the directions. Lazarus had been dead for 4 days before Jesus arrived. Trace the number 4 below, then circle the items that are in groups of 4. Okay, we can handle this. Let's write our number 4 here in the middle. First, we're going to go down and across, and then we're going to go down again. That's how we make a number 4. Okay, now we're going to count our stuff and see what is in groups of 4. And if it is in groups of 4, then we will circle that group. Let's start with our butterflies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is 5 the same as 4? No, it is not the same. It's more than 4. So we can't circle that one. Let's go on to something else. Let's look at the jars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 again? Well, that's still not 4. We can't circle that one. 5 is more than 4. We have to leave that one alone too. Now let's move on to the bottom and count our roses. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yay, we finally have 4. We can circle this one. Circle, circle, circle. Yay. Okay, now let's go over here to the birds. 1, 2, 3. Is 3 the same as 4? No, there's not enough birds. We can't circle those. Let's look at the lamps. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. We have 4 lamps. We can circle this one. And then last we have the frogs. We have my favorite frogs. Let's see how many frogs we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is a lot more than 4. We cannot circle the frogs. Oh, even though they're my favorite, I have to not circle the frogs today. Okay, well, good job. We found our 4 stuff in 4s, our 4 roses and our 4 lamps. Now let's move on down here to our memory verse. He cried with a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. John 11:43. That was in our story, but that's also in the real Bible. So this is, if you were looking in the real Bible, you could find this verse in the real Bible. Okay, in our verse today, we're going to look for the letter L. There's our big L and our little L. Let's see if we can find some in this verse. He cried with a loud, I see an L. Do you see an L? There it is. It's the very first letter. It's the little letter L, the lowercase letter. He cried with a loud voice, Lazarus. There's an L in that one. Did you find it? It's not a lowercase L. It's a capital L for Lazarus. He cried with a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. John 11:43. We found our L's, a big one and a little one. Good job, guys. Okay, guys, it's time for activity number 3. Let's learn our big word of the day. Today's big word is disciples. What does that mean? We probably hear that word a lot at church or when we read our Bible, but maybe not anywhere else. So let's think about what the word disciple means. It means people who followed Jesus and helped to tell others about him. Wow, Jesus had lots of disciples that went with him and helped him to tell other people about Jesus. To tell other people about him. He had 12 disciples. Do you remember in our story and how the disciples did not really want to go back to Bethany, but they were going to go anyway because they loved Jesus. They were going to go and they were going to help Jesus. They were his special helpers. That is pretty awesome. They were his disciples. Okay, now let's look at our Guess Who game and see who we're talking about. I lived in Bethany. Jesus would stay at my house when he was nearby. I said, if you were here, he wouldn't have died. Who said that? I think a couple of people maybe said that. I wonder who it is. Lazarus was my brother. People followed me out of the house because they thought I was going to the grave. Which sister said, if you were here, he wouldn't have died, and people followed her out of the house to the grave? Do you remember which sister that was? It was the second sister to talk to Jesus. Which one talked to Jesus second? It was Mary. Mary talked to Jesus second. Remember when Martha came out, Mary stayed in the house with the people? And then when Martha ran out, when Mary ran out, the people followed her? That's what we were talking about today. Yay, good job if you remembered that, if you remembered that it was Mary. Okay, let's see what we're drawing today. Mary and Martha were sad when Jesus died, but they were happy when he was raised from the dead. In the space below, draw a sad face and a happy face. Okay, so we're gonna draw 2 different faces. So let's make 2 different heads. I'm gonna draw 1 circle for one face, and then I'm gonna draw 1 circle for another face. Okay, both faces are gonna need some eyes. And now we need to make one of the faces look like a sad face. How do we make a sad face? We're gonna make our mouth do like a frown. Oh, there's a sad face. Oh, that is a very sad face. Okay, now we have to make a happy face. So how do we make this one look different so that this one is happy? This is how we did the sad one. What do we need to change so it will be a happy face? We need to flip that frown upside down. There we go. Make a smile. That's how you know it's a happy face. And a happy face has a smile. Did you all make a sad face and a happy face? Great job, guys. Okay, guys, it's time for our letter of the day. Today's letter is the letter L. L makes the sound L, Lazarus. Lazarus lives. Lives starts with L, and Lazarus starts with L. This is our big L, and this is our little L. They look pretty easy to me. Do you all think you can make these today? I think you can. This one's a pretty easy one to do, but we're going to take it slow and we're going to get it figured out. But you all will be experts at this one before we're done. I'm almost sure. Okay, before we get started, I'm going to talk about my fence picture. We have our line up here, which is like our sky, and we're going to imagine that this picture is over here when we get started on this part. So first I have to tell you what it's all about. So we have our sky here, which we're going to imagine when we come over here is this top line. Then we've got our fence here, which we're going to imagine is this line. And then we have our ground, which we're going to imagine is this line. And those are the only ones we're going to use today. We don't have to use our clouds, we don't have to go in between, and we don't have to use our flowers when we go in between, and we don't have to use our roots to go under. So we're not going to talk a whole lot about those today, but we're going to remember where they are anyway. Okay, to get started on our L's, we're going to start in the sky and go down to the ground. And then you're going to go over on the ground. That's it. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, we got that one. Okay, now let's do the next one, the little letter L. It's even easier. We're gonna start at the sky and go down to the ground. And that's it. We've got this. We can handle this letter. So easy. We're gonna practice it over here anyway. Even when stuff is easy, we still need to practice it a little bit. So we're gonna start at the sky, go down to the ground, and then go over. Ta-da! Next, down to the ground, and over. Ta-da! Again. Okay, one more time. Start at the sky, down to the ground, and over. There we go. We did 3 big L's. Now let's do 3 little L's. Start at the sky, down to the ground. Start at the sky, down to the ground. And start at the sky, and down to the ground. So easy. 3 big L's, 3 little L's. Now we're going to make our word of the day, our extra practice word of the day. Today's extra practice word is going to be lives. Lives starts with L. So we're going to make this one together. It starts with the little letter L. So we're going to start at the sky, go down to the ground. Okay, the next letter is the little letter I. It starts at the fence, goes down to the ground, and then dot in the clouds. The third letter is going to be the letter V, and we haven't practiced it very much, so I'll tell you how to do that one. Start at the fence, go slantways to the ground, and then we're going to go slantways back up to the fence. And that is the little letter V. Okay, the next letter is the letter E. So we're going to do a little E. We find our flowers and go over, and then we hook up to the fence, curve around to the ground, and go up just a little. There we go. And the last letter, it's the tricky one. It's the S. So we're going to do it. Remember, it looks like a snake a little bit. We haven't practiced it a lot. So if you're still struggling, it's okay. We're going to start a little bit under the fence about the flowers, go up to the fence, curve around to the ground, and back up just a little bit. There we go. And that's our extra practice word of the day. Good job, guys. Hey guys, it's me again. I hope you enjoyed today about Lazarus. That is crazy stuff. Lazarus was dead and then he came back to life because Jesus told him to come to life. Oh, it was very sad for Mary and Martha at the beginning of the story because they thought Jesus was too late. But guess what? Jesus is never too late. God is never too late. When he is doing something, he does it right on time. Just like he raised Lazarus. And then lots of people knew about God and they were able to believe that Jesus was God's son because of Lazarus. That is so cool. Let's see, what else did we do today? We talked about the letter L and we made some L's. L's are easy ones, aren't they? Some letters are not easy, but L's are easy letters to make. And L's make the la sound. So Lazarus lives. Sounds like you're singing la. Oh, me. What else did we do? We talked about the number 4 because Lazarus was dead for 4 days. We talked about before and after, like before a cake, it has to be ingredients. And before a bird can be a bird, it has to be a baby bird in an egg and stuff like that. We talked about lots of things. Oh, man, I hope you all enjoyed today because I sure enjoyed telling you this story. Until next time, Jolly loves you.